Behold, the great Tower of Ubisoft. Witness the countless incredible franchises that comprise its foundation. Rayman, Far Cry, Splinter Cell, The Division, Watch Dogs, For Honor, Ghost Recon, Prince of Persia, Rainbow Six, and the indomitable Assassin's Creed. Admire this immaculate Jenga tower in all its glory, for Ubisoft has built a pillar of eternal greatness that shall never collapse.
Ubisoft announced it is in the midst of a company-wide restructuring that will result in the cancellation of 6 games.
Oh dear, outside, never mind.
I didn't think it was possible to have even less faith in Ubisoft than before, but here we are.
3 former Ubisoft executives found guilty of moral and sexual harassment.
They've confirmed that they've closed 2 studios, 2 support studios, as well as a bunch of different layoffs.
Let's talk about Ubisoft.
Oh no. Ubisoft confirmed that 7 games have been delayed.
The continued destruction of the gaming industry by twats in suits has yet to slow down. This is all part of an organisational, operational and portfolio reset. Sounds like corpo speak for bending over and spreading them wide for the shareholders.
I try so hard to give these companies the benefit of the doubt, but it's just soul-crushing to see them make the wrong decisions over and over again.
Why would Ubisoft split off their major titles into a sub-brand?
Because Ubisoft is
What's up, everybody? This is the Seahawk Man here, and today, the tides are changing. The turntables.
How the turntables...
And the AAA gaming industry is just not what it once was.
I don't get you. Don't get you no more.
It was formerly a beacon of light from which all our favorite franchises glowed with radiance. Yet now, it is a graveyard from which the bones and ashes of all those favorite franchises are tossed aside and forgotten for eternity. But on the other side, indie and AA games have thrived in recent years, with major smash hits like Smelldivers 2, Hollow Knight Silk Skin, Hades 2, and Expedition 1 through 33. They sure made a lot of those games. Meanwhile, all the biggest Western publishers have done little but find new and exciting angles from which to shoot themselves in the foot. Newest among these decaying giants is none other than the subject of today's video, Ubislop. And folks, if you think times are tough for you right now, Ubisoft is proof that the statement, "there was always someone less fortunate than you," is true. Remember, no corporation wants to be like Ubisoft. So if you don't like this company, or you're like my editor Thomas, and you proclaim yourself to be Ubisoft's biggest hater, then this is the video for you. Let the schadenfreude flow through you. But before you let the hate into your heart, costume change. Whip! Before we dive back into 2025, let's look ahead to a new game that just released. The sponsor of today's video, Arknights Enfield. Build your civilization. Choose your favorite anime babe or himbo. Team up with your friends and demolish your foes in 4-player co-op. Synergize your strategies to unleash devastating combos that might make Dante himself shed a tear. Mix and match your heroes and team compositions as you discover the perfect playstyle that suits you. Explore the uncharted world of Talos 2. And remember that Arknights Enfield is not just an action-packed RPG. It's also about base building and growing your factories. I mean, who doesn't love base building? Like, let's be honest. Construct your own factory and settlements to harvest resources. Decimate the local water supply and ecosystem to fuel your own character's progression. But that's not all. Unlock blueprints for new structures, and use the batch mode to conveniently copy and paste them around your city. Arknights Enfield is now available on PS5, PC, and mobile devices. And if you download and play it for free using that link in the description, I'll get you started with a launch celebration pack, filled with tons of goodies to help you on your way as you explore the world of Talos 2. Thank you, Arknights Enfield, for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
It's a great outfit. I've never worn a scarf in a video before. Also, this video is gonna go out after the NFC Championship game has ended. So if the Seahawks lose, I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot. But if we win, I will have been a prophet of regret. Anyways, But when we talk about the inevitable fall of Ubisoft, what am I referring to? Well, how much time you got, Jack, okay? The inevitable fall of Ubisoft could constitute its own 8-part documentary series at this point. And I don't have time to make that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So I'm gonna do my best to keep this video concise. I have a tendency to get lost in the weeds, as they say. And we're about to walk into a fucking rainforest. I was just looking through, like, Ubisoft news in 2025, dog. I can't even give you a brief recap of that because it's like Santa's naughty list. That shit stretches on for eternity. But there might be some naive souls out there asking, oh, come on, Act-Man, how bad could Ubisoft really be? I mean, a corporation that big can't possibly... 3 Ubisoft chiefs found guilty of enabling culture of sexual harassment. Oh no, not again. Dear God, this isn't even the meat and potatoes of this video, like the main subject. Yeah, what? Huh? July 2025? 3 former executives at Ubisoft have been given suspended prison sentences for enabling a culture of sexual and psychological harassment in the workplace. In other news, I just want to say that I'm extremely excited for J.K. Rowling's new novel, Harry Potter and the Chamber of the Stolen Breast Milk. What the fuck? How did I miss this? What? For all the women out there watching this, the only time a man can cry is when he's discussing the sins of Ubisoft. I will say good on the French for giving these sexual deviants a prison sentence. We could sure use that type of justice over here in America, but that's neither here nor there. The court in Bobigny, I'm not even gonna pretend to know how to pronounce that, had heard how the former executives used their position to bully or sexually harass staff, leaving women terrified. Yeah, I'm an alpha male. When I walk into the room, I leave women terrified. At least France has their own version of Blizzard. Anyways, 2025 was not Ubisoft's best year. In fact, it wasn't anybody's best year. I think that's fair to say. But Ubisoft in particular struggled mightily. Rainbow Six Siege was compromised by a back-end breach, and hackers managed to distribute $13 million of premium currency to the player base. Now, I do consider myself a fan of Robinhood, but yeah, that's it. That's the end of the sentence. So Ubisoft had to shut down the servers for Rainbow Six Siege. And just imagine if something like that had happened to Fortnite, if they had been victim to this type of shenanigans. Also, remember that Ubisoft tried to shut down the online service for the 2014 racing game The Crew. You know what happened after that? That became the catalyst that sent Handsome Ross on a quest to stop killing games. And he was briefly delayed by a notorious pirate.
Beat my entire ass.
But ended up emerging victorious, as we all did. And Ross managed to accrue and galvanize people, millions of people, to support the Stop Killing Games movement. People remember the pirate, they don't remember Ubisoft, who was the original catalyst of this movement. I don't think the term PR disaster begins to describe the type of year that Ubisoft had in 2025. Like, at the risk of being anti-Semitic, I might say it was a PR holocaust. Here's a fun stat line. Ubisoft's stock price is down to its lowest point in almost 15 years. It went down 39% just this morning and 95% in the past 5 years. This shit is going for 92 cents? Buddy, 92 cents a pop? Ain't nothing costs 92 cents these days, not even a pop. So it's certainly not a good look for Ubisoft. But why am I talking about this now specifically? Well, if you can believe it, Ubisoft recently canceled 6 games. They delayed 7 others, closed 2 studios, and as a special pre-order bonus, they've announced the upcoming Mass Layoffs DLC in what appears to be a bold attempt to out-and-shitify Microsoft and Xbox. And ladies and gentlemen, coming from this humble act man, goddamn, are they putting up some serious competition. Oh, what's that? You're canceling your games? Pfft, I raise you. I call your bet. I mean, the jokes kind of write themselves, but I do my best too. Dog, it's not even February and we're already talking about mass layoffs again. Hey, remember when Ubisoft laid off over 1,500 employees? You should remember that because it was 2 months ago.
Time is a flat circle.
I started writing this video and looking into the Ubisoft debacles, and it is truly a never-ending pit. What's that? Tom Henderson reports that Ubisoft's next cost-cutting measure could see another 2,000 jobs lost.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Fuck yes, I love it when people get fired. I love it when people lose their jobs. I don't like it when CEOs and upper management lose their jobs, okay? They never deserve it. It's not like they're controlling the destination of the ship. I mean, thankfully, upper management is always safe whenever mass layoffs occur, thankfully. God bless. Tom Henderson is really popping off with these article titles. You should go give him a follow on Twitter. Ubisoft wants Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six Siege to be annual billionaire brands. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they want that. You know, fellas, I kind of would like if the Act Man would be like an annual billionaire franchise brand thing. Bob, wouldn't that be great? Can you guys give me $1 billion, please? Please? Assassin's Creed is already an annual franchise. Like, man, Tom also wrote one about the upcoming game Beyond Good and Evil 2 and how, quote, according to sources, constant changes, pushbacks, and lengthy development time, the game has likely cost Ubisoft $500+ million in development costs. But at least for the time being, Ubisoft feels like it's a cost that is justified.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Man, what was the name of that quadruple A game they wasted so much money on? What are they doing? Ubisoft reportedly spent $650 to $850 million on Skull and Bones. Thank God management hasn't lost their jobs. Bruh, the weeds are thick. The weeds are so thick, man. Somebody get the magic conch shell and pull me out of this hellscape. Do I really have to make this video? Going back to recent events, I know it's hard to keep up, but out of the 6 games they canceled, there was only one that was publicly canceled. And as if fate wasn't cruel enough to twist the scimitar deeper into our flesh, ladies and gentlemen, the game that was canceled was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time Remake. And to quote a famous prophet,
the sands of time have run out.
I'm not gonna lie and say I was the biggest Prince of Persia fan, but I played Sands of Time back on the OG Xbox. I thought it was pretty good. My favorite part of the game that I remember was whenever you die, the main character would be like, no, that's not how it happened. And then the game would like rewind, and I always thought that was fucking hilarious. In any case, it's a franchise that has seen better days. The most recent title, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, did not perform well commercially. And it's not so much that failure in and of itself is enough to cancel this game. It's more of the cascading mountain of controversies and failures and financial disasters that Ubisoft is facing that has caused them to pull the plug, and it's really tragic. Here's what the official Prince of Persia Twitter account had to say. We've made the difficult decision to stop development on Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time Remake. Did you make that decision, or did Ubisoft, or are you one and the same? We know this is deeply disappointing. The game carries enormous meaning for fans and for the teams who worked on it. While the project had real potential, we weren't able to reach the level of quality you deserve, and continuing would have required more time and investment than we could reasonably commit. And we didn't want to release something that fell short of what the Sands of Time represents. Prince of Persia as a universe and a legacy continues to matter deeply to us, and this decision does not mean we're stepping away from the franchise. Probably does. Thank you for your passion, patience, and love for Prince of Persia. I don't think Xerxes is feeling any love on this day. This reads like a hey, we can't do this, and we were told we can't do this. We didn't make this decision ourselves, but we have to make it seem like we did, because we're not trying to piss off upper management. You know, the upper management who is planning all those layoffs, right? You're connecting the dots. I see it. You're a smart viewer. You should go ahead and subscribe and like this video. You should. Only if you're hot and sexy. But this does sound like a recurring theme, over-investing in games that don't pan out or that don't interest modern audiences. And I think I just have to refer to the ancient meme of wisdom, which says, I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less, and I'm not kidding. We weren't able to reach the level of quality you deserve. Sounds like a budget issue, like we weren't able to reach a 400k level graphical fidelity for this game, and it's not worth making, right? If it doesn't look like the best video game ever made. And I maybe it's just me, but I feel like this is part of a growing trend in Western game developers where they think like graphics and polish and physics and all that shit is the most important thing. Like if the game doesn't look like it's the most cutting edge thing to be released in the current year, it's not worth making. Maybe a bit of exaggeration, hyperbole in that statement, but that's the kind of vibe I get, you know? Now, the reason for all these studio shakedowns and game delays and game cancellations and pre-announced layoffs is because Ubisoft is in dire straits. They are up shit creek without a paddle, operating at a loss of about 1.2 billion as far as 2025 is concerned. Now, I don't know how much money you guys have lost in a year, but there's a very good chance it is not even 0.0001% of 1.2 billion. And so all this restructuring of their studios and their priorities in games, it's meant to try and make the company profitable again.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Now, as a side note, Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake was the only game they publicly canceled, but they had reported that they were working on a Rainbow Six Siege mobile game, if you cared about that. New Division title, The Division Resurgence, and a potential remake of Assassin's Creed 4, the best Assassin's Creed game. And while I did recently complain about the abundance of remakes and remasters, I fucking love Black Flag. You get to be a pirate. What more do you want? Other than to make out with Edward Kenway. I would do that. Assuming, of course, that Leon Kennedy rejected my advances. But Ubisoft does appear to have substantial revenue and cash reserves saved up, so they're not without a lifeline. But you can only burn so much money without certain people getting upset. Just ask the Joker. This might be the only positive thing I will say about Ubisoft in this video, and that is that the CEO actually gave up a third of his annual salary. Americans watching this are going to be shocked by the cultural differences. As much as you hate Ubisoft, man, that goes to show how fucking bad our CEOs over here are. That's something. At least the CEO of Ubisoft isn't pocketing the difference between all the employees he's firing, you know what I mean? But it could also be seen as a sign of desperation. Even the CEO is sacrificing his paycheck? Buddy, it's all hands on deck. Ubisoft, if it hasn't collapsed already, is on the precipice of doing so. The leaning tower of greatness falters. But perhaps, and let me just be bold and say something, all right? Maybe all this terrible news, this horrible management, it's the hard reset that Ubisoft needs, right? The grass is always greener. This too shall pass. Perhaps, I mean, let's try to be optimistic here. Maybe some ultimate good will come from all of this. A new Splinter Cell was in development, but Ubisoft canceled it. Bruh. The suffering will continue until morale improves. Good God, this shit sucks so much ass. I wanna be a Spies vs. Merc. Splinter Cell, why did you have to die? Spies vs. Merc. Splinter Cell, I miss you so much. Yeah, chat, we might be cooked. I mean, if you really want to understand the dichotomy, like the difference between AAA gaming and where AA and indie is right now, look at the reputation of Ubisoft versus Sandfall Games and Kepler Interactive, developers of Expedition 33. Like, both French companies, yet their reception and their popularity and their reputation could not be more polar opposite. Now, I have one very important question to ask. What happened to Rayman? As long as I don't get copyright claimed for using this incredible soundtrack, you will have been hearing the Rayman Legends soundtrack throughout this entire video. That shit is one of the greatest of all time. It's so peak. But Rayman Legends, Ubisoft literally dropped one of the greatest 2D platformers, one of the greatest platformers of all time, and then looked at that and said, nah, that's enough. We don't need to make any more of that. That was 2013, man. Ubisoft was built off of Rayman. That was the game that initially allowed them to climb the tower of relevance. And I don't know, man. I feel like it's a sign when like your core franchise or the thing that got you where you are today that you have just neglected and like thrown in the trash, right? For Microsoft and Xbox, it's Halo. Like, nobody really gives a shit about Halo. Yes, we're still complaining about Halo. Yeah, I've been doing that for 11 years on this channel. We're still doing it. Still doing it. Rayman's not that difficult of a formula to perfect. And I think if we want to come back to a realistic note, this is probably the main reason why there is so much contempt and hatred towards Ubisoft these days. Sure, yes, they are, by all standards, a terrible company and have made numerous fuck-ups, but they used to make damn good games. They really fucking did. Anybody who tells you otherwise is just huffing pure copium. I mean, the most passionate haters you have are the ones that used to love you the most. Now, just ask my ex-girlfriends if you want proof of that. It is so ironic that the original Rayman is what started Ubisoft's ascent into the stratosphere, and we've heard fuck all, nothing about this franchise after coming off its greatest iteration. It's my IP to sit on and do nothing with. In any case, Lord only knows what the future has in store for Ubisoft. But one thing is for certain, the dominoes have started toppling. How many dominoes will fall? It remains to be seen. Ubisoft might be the first big domino in a series of many spectacular Western video game developers collapsing. Time will tell. And I don't want to be 100% negative. There is a chance that Ubisoft might bounce back and they could ball out like Kobe did after the bad touch allegations. Or Ubisoft might wither and die like an unwatered flower. Regardless, it's safe to say that the inevitable fall of Ubisoft has begun. Heck, it probably began many years ago. I'm just trying to catch up on all this nonsense. Look at how long this video is and just like look up Ubisoft controversies and you will see I literally cut 7 parts out of this 8-part documentary. It was challenging to compile like the failures of this company in a single video in a way that doesn't make me go insane. But I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I would really appreciate if you lived a like. Please live a like. And subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. And also, don't forget to use that other link in the description to download and play Arknight's Enfield today. If you'd like to support these videos, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below. Shout out to my top patrons, the acting experts. Thank you to 2, A Slice of Pizza, A2A Phoenix, Anubis 17, Big Demoness Mommy, Brody 5517, Capitalism, Caprivi, Chrisa W, Dr. Miller, GC Carter, Jazan Heitman, Lejam, Levi Von Marks, Lime Soda, Lucas Haynes, Minx Panzer, Saber the ODST, Scroto T Baggins, Shadow, Sylphia, Sweater King, and the Superstorm 49. Thank you all so much for your continued support. I will have some secret updates coming soon to Patreon, so sign up for as little as $1 or $5 a month. All right, everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Seahawk Man signing out. Caw!